Hi, everyone. I'm your host, Patty Giarrusso, and this is Let's Talk Pets on Society Bites Radio. Today, we welcome to the show Stephanie Hicks from Care for Pets, and she's the executive director of Care for Pets. And during these trying times while we're dealing with the COVID virus, many families have difficult choices to make, and sometimes they're forced with a heart-wrenching decision, which could include surrendering their pets to animal services. And Care for Pets, which is located in Winnebago County, aims to help those families. They're focused on pet retention, and they've partnered with their municipal shelter to help keep intake and ultimately euthanasia numbers low. So welcome to the show, Stephanie.
Thank you.
Yeah, so why don't you tell us a little about Care for Pets and how it got started? Were you the one that started it, or have you been with them since the beginning?
Yeah, so it was started 2.5 years ago by some of the a county administrator and the county chairman, and actually started as a capital fundraising organization to build a bigger shelter. They weren't active. They hadn't finished their 501c3 paperwork yet, and were recruiting me, and I wasn't quite so interested because I didn't want to build a bigger shelter. I thought, why aren't we trying to keep them out of the shelter? And at that time, there were some changes within our county, and those people weren't in their positions anymore. And the other board members liked the direction of retention and prevention. And so we changed the organization, and I've been with since then. So essentially the beginning.
Okay. And right now, your organization does things basically with the mission of keeping pets and their families together, right?
100%, yes.
Yeah. So right now, with so many people out of jobs and just everything that's going on, have you noticed, more of a need? I would imagine, right? Or is it the same?
It's interesting. It's interesting. People are still needing the same services that they had needed previously, such as vaccinations to keep their pets healthy and home, microchips to keep them home, those services. We've tried to do some non-contact food drives, and people are really concerned about their health. So they aren't so much coming out to receive those types of services. I think where we're seeing it most is pets getting loose and becoming impounded at the municipal shelter, and then being able to afford the fees.
Yeah, so you help with the reclaim fees?
We do.
Yeah.
Yes, we do. Mm-hmm.
Just out of curiosity, what is a reclaim fee in your county?
Oh, goodness, it varies. So typically, there's not a standard rate, but it typically averages around $115 to $150.
Okay.
If the dog is there for a bite, because sometimes that happens accidentally or whatnot, it can be as high as $350.
Yeah. So, and I know because
not affordable.
No, I know. And I've said this before, that sometimes the reclaim fees might make it so that people cannot, afford to get their pet back because they have to make a decision between groceries or electric bills or something versus picking up their pet. So that's an important thing to do. And you also offer other types of supportive services. And what are those?
So if we run into a retention issue, we're not just like the reclaim, for example, we're not just helping to get the pet out paying the fees. We want to find out, why was the pet loose? What happened? How can we assist with that? So a lot of times we have helped with fences. We've sent tether lines. We're mailing them now, but tether lines, other resources, food, vaccinations, microchips. We've paid pet deposits. We've done actually a lot of temporary fostering or boarding for domestic violence victims, where otherwise their pets would be impounded and they only have 10 days to get them out. Generally, that's not long enough. So it runs the gamut.
Okay. And has this program always done this, or is this something more recent?
So when we started 2.5 years ago, we just said, okay, we're going to offer services to keep the pets out of the municipal shelter. And I think we didn't understand how many reasons pets end up in the shelter. And so we have been doing all of this since the beginning. And, it's taken a little bit of time to kind of pull back and streamline operations for so many different initiatives.
Yeah. So you also mentioned that, vaccinations, healthy and home. So is that just something that you offer, ongoing, or would it be maybe a monthly clinic, or how does that work?
Yep. So we do two different things. We do a monthly clinic with the basic vaccination. Here in Illinois. Rabies vaccination is required to give to a veterinarian. And so on a monthly basis, we're not able to offer that, but we do the other vaccinations. And then typically about 4 times over the summer, we do a full clinic, which is offering the rabies vaccination, microchip, the county license, food, and spay neuter vouchers. And we have participation from the county and local veterinarians to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is this funded by the county, or is it your organization that funds all of this?
Believe it or not, we have amazing supporters that with like $5 and $20 donations make us run. They really have gotten behind the idea of, these are families with pets just like me, and I don't know what I would do without mine. And, even if I don't get my Starbucks, tomorrow or next week, I'm going to give to this organization. We're not grant funded or funded by contracts. So
I'm just trying to, because I'm always looking at different things and ways that different municipalities and counties can help people in these situations. So I'm always interested to see what you're doing. And it was Kathy Poblowski that suggested I talk with you, because she said you're really doing some good work during this, COVID epidemic situation. And so I'm guessing that, as I mentioned at the beginning, was there an increase possibly, in the need, or are you seeing an increase in maybe owner surrenders because people need help or something like that?
Yeah, they're really, in talking with the municipal shelter and the phone calls we're receiving, we're really not seeing the owner surrenders, at least in our area, and we are a lower income area that we would expect to see going into this. So that's really not too much of an issue.
That's good, because, I just keep seeing all these things about people, letting their pets go and surrendering them during, these times. So I think that speaks to your program working very well, that there's not that
Thank
need.
You.
Yeah. So how, if say somebody needed help, do they just call you? How do they find you? Like, you're just well known in your county, or what?
So a lot of times the municipal shelter refers people to us. We have more in the last year gotten a lot of word of mouth referrals from other clients. So we have a lot of neighborhoods that we're very active in, and they tell family or friends if they're running upon a need to contact us. And it's really, I would consider most of our clients that we're working with, we don't just touch them once. Most of the times we're touching them multiple times. And we have relationships. And I think that's really important, because I think there's trust that comes in asking for help, or, saying that my pet is not compliant, or, things of that nature.
Okay. Yeah, I always look for ways that, our county can help. And so I'm just curious how it works. And, so if somebody needed vaccines, would they have to wait, or would you be able to help them right away? How does that part of it work? If you have like 4 clinics throughout the year, would they wait for a clinic, or, would they be able to get a voucher, or what would happen?
So for rabies vaccination?
Well, I guess, do you offer any kind of vaccinations? Like, I have people saying, oh, my kitty needs, vaccines and I can't afford it or something,
Yeah. So we do that on a monthly basis, the
Okay.
non-rabies vaccinations on a monthly basis. And so when people have kittens or puppies, especially, that we have a lot of parvo in our community, we get them in that rotation because they need boosters. And so then
Yeah.
they're coming back, every month.
Yeah.
When it comes to rabies, a lot of times, we're talking to people about getting their pet altered. We do a lot of spay neuter, a lot of spay neuter. And so we have a monthly, it's a transport program that we work with a low cost spay neuter clinic, and they come out and pick up about 40 cats and dogs from us on a monthly basis. And they take them and then they get fully vetted. So they get the rabies vaccination as well as getting altered. So we have, it's pretty dynamic. If we can't help one way, we'll figure out another way.
And is this all
little
free?
Difficult during these times?
Yeah. Is
most
it all
of the
free?
Time,
yeah.
So most of the time it is. We have special programs for, pit bulls. We have a lot of pit bulls in our area, so a lot of times we have special dollars allocated, so that's always all free. And depending on, we don't verify so much income. We just ask a general, are you considered low income question. And then most of the time it's basically nothing. We'll ask people, what can you contribute? If they say $5, great, we'll take it. If it's nothing, then it's nothing.
Now tell me this, does the shelter, if a dog is there, do they just automatically contact you? Do they let the owner know, if the owner says, I can't afford $150, do they say, well, here's an organization that can help you? How does that part work?
That's how it does work. So if someone expresses a financial need, then they are referred to us. And I'll have to say that, everything that we do really hinges on the relationship with our municipal shelter. It was a little bit rocky at first. We were new, but we worked with them. We actually put some ordinance changes in effect, working with our county board, so that the administrator could, because he was tied to the fees by county ordinance. And so we helped change that so that he could help waive while we're helping to pay. So we're working together.
That's interesting because, my organization pays for fees, but they don't offer it. It's like I've always told them we'll do that. So when you said an ordinance change, I'm curious now if that may be an issue in our county. Because, we would do the same thing, and I want to do the same thing. I don't want anybody to ever not be able to pick up their pet because they can't afford it.
Yep. Yeah. And we got to a point where we were, I think our first year we spent $12,000 on reclaims for, I don't remember the number right now, but it was not as many animals as you would think it would be for that amount of money. I think it was like 35 or 40.
Oh my gosh.
And right. And so, we said, we need you to be doing your part as well. If you want us to continue to do this, because the more money we have, the more animals we can get out,
Right. And it only makes sense when you think of what does it cost them to house and feed and whatever.
Yes.
If an animal becomes sick in the shelter, obviously it makes more sense financially to the county for you to do what you do. Yes.
Yeah. So that's come along the last year that they've really been, we split a lot of things 50-50 often. So that's helpful.
Now, let's talk about microchipping. Do you provide microchipping, or how does that work there?
So we do microchipping at our monthly vaccine